what are your thoughts on creating a membership that doesn't exist currently? Or in brackets, you put, I can't find one that does. And I mean, here's the thing, right? If there's something that doesn't exist, first of all, it's great to do the research because oftentimes things we don't think exist, somewhere there's versions of it. But if it doesn't exist, this is a great opportunity for you to jump in, be first to market or around it to create something like that. And so, you said, yeah, I've done research and the service is viable and there is a need. There are people coaching around it, but not a membership. We talked about there's a huge need already for it. You already have content, sorry. You've got years of content, in fact, and it'll be simply creating a membership area around it. So a couple of things on that is where, first of all, before I even jump in on anything, one of the things I always fundamentally say is clarity and answers that you're going to get is going to come from action. And if you feel called to do something, right, if it stirs your soul, that is your call to take action on it. And that action will give you feedback in either places to continue to do, a way to pivot, right? So I'm always about, if you have that call, obviously that means the ability and the way to do it, it's there, and it's up to you to take action. But one of the things I'm going to do is give you some food for thought as you take action, so that way you can get more clarity, right? Because again, clarity is going to come through actually taking action and testing it out and seeing what comes of it. First of all, if there is a market where people are already purchasing, I'm assuming coaching sessions to help them with this, but not necessarily a membership. So that need, it's there. One of the things I would do if I was sitting where you were sitting is to say, okay, so the people that are selling coaching packages for it, what is that pain point? What is that solution that they're actually buying, right? So to help you better position the membership. And I'm also curious to know who is the target market. And speaking about target market, this is what I say all the time. This is what I said in the coaching call, where it's so important to recognize who is this membership for, right? Getting specific, and just with anything, this goes with anything that you're selling. And of course, what is the pain point that they're solving? I would love for you to even go further and validate that. Again, if it's going to be directed to companies buying it for their employees or the employees buying it for themselves, what is that pain point that it's solving? So, but going specific to membership, one of the things I talked about in the call was where there's main areas I look at it, right? Especially for me and the people that I've mentored all through this time, that has the model. There are three main areas that, that you're juggling at every single time. You've got a member attraction, member retention, and member engagement, meaning, the information, all the stuff that you're doing for them, right? So these three activities is where it needs to be mapped out. It needs to be planned, right? How are you getting your member attraction? And that's a whole marketing piece. This is the whole being clear on who this membership is for, the people, all that stuff that we talk about generally in your business. That's important, right? I think sometimes it's great to have that feature, which is part of the member engagement and everything else. But how are you attracting people? How are you positioning it? And it goes back to everything that we talked about in business, right? So think through, and I would say map out your member attraction, member attraction, member retention. How are you keeping them consistently paying month by month by month, right? There's so many different strategies around that. And I'm not going to get into that, but it's just really just map out and think through, how are you going to keep them month to month to month, paying every single month, continuing on, right? Recognizing that, the industry term, I think I said 3 to 5% on the call. I just looked it up, and it is 5 to 10%. So anywhere from 5% and less, the attrition rate or the churn is, if it's 5% or less, that's actually seen as good. And anywhere from 10 higher, it's kind of like a red flag, right? But this is why having a plan for member attraction is important, because month to month to month, if it's on average 5 to 10%, how are you keeping people, how are you going to keep people coming in and growing it? So this is something that membership are fun. It's great, but I think it's great to have. Clearly I have one, but I feel like what a lot of people miss in it is they focus on, oh, I can do this and get this consistent. I love it. It's great, but I want you to really think through and put a plan in place so that way you can set yourself up for success. So that's the churn rate, what is that retention looks like? And that brings me to another point. It's where, it's great to have the ideas. Like, I would say we have tons of ideas and tons of things that we're implementing in the membership that we haven't done yet. We haven't done yet because, again, I look at my capacity and my ability to execute it properly. We have that. I have that where this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. Right. And then it's going to like, and I'm going to add it in, I'm going to add it in by layers. And that's also part of my retention strategy too, because then it's like, okay, in 2 months from now, we're going to do this. Then, once we have it and we have it mapped out and it's planned, it's a way where people, if you leave, then you're not going to take advantage of this thing happening in 2 months. Right. So not necessarily, and I say this where I just want people to have the capacity and not be overwhelmed because you have all these ideas and you're like, day one, it's going to be executed. It doesn't have to be, right? So again, where I knew when I opened up the membership, this is what it's going to entail. This is what I'm going to have. And there's some content and resources that I have from past recordings and stuff that I made available. And then, of course, the monthly membership, the masterclass. And of course, doing this for over a year, I have like a database of stuff and resources. And it's always like, okay, yeah, there's a masterclass for this, right? So now it that helps because I have this tool. In saying that, recognize that your number one thing when it comes to the membership, even though some people think like, okay, well, I can sit back and not worry about it and not do month to month and all that stuff. Marketing and client attraction is going to be foundational, right? There's going to be things that you need to do consistently to keep people in. It is going to be a slow growth for the most part. Yes, there's people that hit it out of the park and have like great members, to start, right? But it's really important to see sometimes even those people, like, because I've seen it, there's one person like right off the bat, it was like 30 or whatever it is, but then it slowly trickled down because it's that consistency. And only like 3 people showed up. If only 5 people showed up, all these things that I want to do, am I going to consistently do it? Do I want to do it? And if the answer is yes, great. Bravo, that's going to be great for you. But I want you to just have that mindset where all these work I want to do, all these things I'm going to be showing up for, what's my capacity? And if it's going to be, I'm just making this for the next 3 months or 6 months doing that, is that okay for me? And if the answer is yes, great, do it. But again, going back to marketing. That is going to be so huge. Even if you think about people who have big memberships, there's so many different things that they're doing. And I want you to also think about your membership. Some of you are doing it as a main thing. Just like I talked about in the call, you can have it as a back-end offer, right? Meaning they go through a certain program with you. And then the membership becomes a back-end offer that you can offer them where they can maintain whatever it is that they're doing. That's a beautiful, great model. And I've seen so many people start membership, pause membership, close membership, transition membership. That's fine. It will happen and you'll see it. But it's just a matter of really thinking through your capacity. And this is what I did for me is where, okay, this is all the stuff that I want to provide for them. But I also recognize, and I'm pretty clear and transparent about this to everybody, is freedom is one of my core desired feelings. And to be honest, I've wanted to create the membership for the longest time. What kept me from it was this. I had this preconception that it's going to take a lot of time for me. And it was just something that I would always have to do. And so I found ways to think through, okay, how can I keep providing value where it's not just me doing it, but it's where, how can I create that was value, but without it being where it's just me constantly doing it. Because again, the membership is one part of my overall brand, which is a lot of different moving pieces. There's a lot of different things that I do in my business that I love to do that I don't want to give up. And so it's a matter of how am I going to fit that, right? What does that profit model look like for me, right? How can is there ways? I mean, I think last year, we have a few of you here that pay for the membership and private coaching, right? Where you get the monthly coaching and the part of the membership. We introduced that last year where people have that with me, right? So that was another element where the monthly payment plan was higher than what we normally get. And also too, you may have or may not have a lot of content to begin with. This is where, things like founding membership, right, is great because then you're founding the membership with them, you're creating that content with them, and you're giving them the reason and not giving them reason, but because it's a lower price point maybe for founding members, and you can do it where it's grandfathered in, or you can increase it after. That's really up to you. Mine has been grandfathered in. So, this is something that you can do to help build your membership and get people in a founder's rate, right? This is really popular for membership. And I've also seen membership where, it's called tiny membership. So I think it's a take on what's called tiny offers. So tiny offers is where when you normally have an online program, but these are like tiny offers where it's anywhere from like $17 to like, $27, $47, $97, something like that. It's a tiny offer to get people in. This is where, we've seen anything from like $7 a month to like $17 a month to like $27 a month, right, for these membership. Some of these traditional membership can go anywhere. I mean, I started at $45 a month. It's going to go up the next time we open it up, right? The monthly plan is going up. Membership like we have here, I've seen some that are $97 a month to $297 a month, right? So it really ranges, and it's just finding your sweet spot. But one of the things I would love to do, I would ask too, is really helping to validate that offer. And it's not just the features, like we can say, like, you get this, which is great. I have that. But at the end of the day, people are not buying the features. People are paying what those things are doing for them. How are you helping them? What does that do for them, right? At the end of the day. And this is going to be, as you're mapping out and putting together your membership, that's going to be key. And I've talked about this in the past too, where part of conversion too is about your relationship to the people, to the audience, right? Meaning, do you have authority with them? Do you have status with them? I would say think about anybody that you've bought something from, right? Especially in this business and personal development space. Clearly, you felt those people had a status or an expert thing that you needed to help move them forward. So the people that you're marketing to, have you done the work to position yourself as somebody who can lead them, who can get them that from point A to point B or point Z or whatever you want to call it, right? So that's also important. Not to say that that's the only thing that does it, but that helps. Again, this is part of the relationship and part of your status and authority in that in your field to help move them forward. So, you got to look at, there's going to be payment issues, right? How are you setting that up? What does that process look like when you have the payment issue? There's now coordinating and cross-referencing and also tracking when, if people cancel. If you're going to have a Facebook group, I'm not sure if your membership that you're planning, are you having a Facebook group? If you have a Facebook group, now you're going to, like, what is your timelines? And we're really bad at doing this on our end, but it's like making sure that the people who, if they canceled, there's a trigger that's going to allow you to now go into your Facebook group and clean it up, right? And then adding them back in and so forth, right? There is admin work that's related to that. And the communication outside of, you're going to use Facebook group. What are the implications when the people don't use Facebook group? And if you want to have a community aspect, right? Obviously there's tons of different, options and tools and stuff and platforms that's become popular now that people use, but it's just a thing to think through as well, because there is a lot of admin. You've got the churn rate, you've got the client attraction, client retention, content creation, and again, it's a slow growth, and being okay with that, right? Great if it's if it was a big growth, but are you going to be okay with that? And also twos, where if there's that churn, and how are you going to now get more people to replace it, right? What does that look like for you? So just some food for thought. Just with everything, it's going to take time to build. It's going to take time to build with everything. I wish we think, okay, this overnight thing and people have done it. It takes time to build. Is it going to be your signature offer? Again, is it going to be a tiny membership? Like, that's popular. And, and if there's any questions around that, let me know. Beautiful model, great model. And at the end of the day, just try it out, check it out, but just be aware of all the different moving pieces, all the different elements, what's involved in it. So that way, as you take action, you have, you can level set yourself and have some kind of knowledge and expectation of what can happen and what you can do to adjust along the way. So any questions, let me know. And yeah, I'll be off. All right. Bye.